That night wasn't meant to be a celebration. They hadn't invited him to be honored, only humiliated. 5 years ago, they stamped him with labels: quiet, strange, invisible. Now, they expected him to walk back into their orbit still carrying those chains. Marcus Green entered in silence, hoodie zipped, sneakers worn from long walks home after midnight coding sessions. The room snickered on instinct. Old habits are hard to kill. Chase bragged too loudly about investors he never really had. Brooks' smile was sugar-dusted over glass. Tyler shuffled his cue cards, certain his punchlines would still land the way they once did in crowded cafeterias. But Marcus's calm was something new. Stillness so deep it unsettled the noise around it. It wasn't nerves. It was focus, like a man who had lived through sleepless nights, spilled bottles of formula, and the fragile heartbeat of responsibility. He didn't wear success. He carried it, unseen, like weight plates hidden beneath the floor. Hours earlier, his kitchen told a real story. Envelopes piled untouched. A fridge plastered with a child's crayons. A crooked son. 2 stick figures. The words, Dad plus me. Jaden's small hands fitting Lego pieces together while Marcus decided if he would face the ghost waiting at Rutherford Academy. He wasn't going for revenge. He was going for closure, to build something taller for his son than bitterness could ever reach. The reunion unfolded like theater. Gold balloons, shiny name tags, slideshows of polished lives. They laughed at each other's then and now snapshots, every chuckle covering cracks in their own stories. Marcus sat quietly, tracing circles of condensation with his fingertip. Water rings. Appear, fade, appear again. Just like the shallow laughter in that room. Then came his turn. Tyler's grin widened, voice laced with mock sympathy. Most likely to still be different. Marcus Green. Is he even here? The spotlight swung. Chairs creaked. A pause heavier than all the laughter before it. Marcus rose. His chair scraped the floor, sharp enough to cut through the noise. He didn't need a speech. He didn't need to remind them of every insult, every locker shoved, every whispered name. One word was enough. Thank you. The room froze. Their rhythm broke. The joke slipped. And for the first time, silence sat with Marcus, not against him. Marcus stood steady at the lectern, his palm resting lightly against the glass as if anchoring the moment. You thought quiet was weakness, he said, voice even, carrying just enough to touch the far tables. But quiet is where patience grows. And patience is where work takes root. Work doesn't glow on Instagram. It doesn't get applause in crowded rooms. It grows when no one's watching. He let the words breathe, his eyes sweeping across the rows of faces that once smirked at his silence. Phones hovered midday, screens still lit with proof they couldn't ignore. Behind him, the projector flickered headlines. Series B raised. 40 million. Green Technologies expands AI infrastructure. The weight in the room shifted. Laughter had drained, replaced by something heavier, self-recognition. Every person suddenly aware of their own fractures. Tyler's cue cards hung useless at his side, paper shield against a truth too sharp to block. Brooke's champagne glass trembled, bubbles rising and collapsing faster than her smile. Chase clutched his phone, the final notice still glowing blue like a wound he couldn't hide. Marcus pressed on, calm as ever. I wasn't at the parties. I wasn't at the rooftops or golf courses. My weekends weren't about Polish. They were about diapers and deadlines. One hand mixing formula, the other debugging code at 2 a.m. That's a road no one sees, the long road. You called it failure. I called it foundation. A ripple spread through the hall. Not laughter this time, not derision, just a rustle of discomfort, the sound of old narratives unraveling thread by thread. Marcus tapped the glass gently against the wood of the lectern. Another ring formed, small, circular, precise. That's all life is. Circles. You don't stop them. You decide what surface they leave a mark on. He stepped back. He didn't slam the MIC, didn't storm off. He simply let silence do what silence does best, reveal the truth left behind. For the first time all night, no one knew where to look. Some stared at their screens, double-checking the articles. Others glanced sideways, unwilling to meet each other's eyes. Tyler opened his mouth as though to salvage the script, but the lines had deserted him. His smile flickered, caught between host and spectator. A single clap sounded from the far left corner, hesitant, weak. It stumbled into the air, then died without company. No one else dared follow. The applause that had come so easily all evening had suddenly grown heavy, as if their hands were chained to their laps. Marcus descended the steps, unhurried, each footfall like punctuation on a page only he could read. He returned to his table, sat, poured more water. Another circle bloomed, faint as chalk, and again he wiped it away. Control, even in small things, was its own quiet statement. The projector behind him kept the headlines alight. His company's name, the clasped hands of the Jaden Fund logo, proof left standing long after the words had ceased. The hall, once filled with smirks and banter, had become a place of whispered fragments. Envy tangled with shame, or clashed with regret. No one toasted. No one ordered another round. The noise had shrunk into something brittle. Marcus didn't need to say more. His silence did the rest. He knew that years from now, when his son asked about this night, he wouldn't tell a story of revenge. He would tell a story of weight, how truth doesn't need volume, how circles dry but leave faint marks, and how one man can turn a room simply by standing steady in his own skin. The banquet hall carried on, but it was changed, not by applause, not by speeches, by the undeniable gravity of a man they once named Loser, standing still until the room finally bent toward him. Outside, the night pressed cool against his face. The drizzle had thinned to a mist, street lamps painting halos on the pavement. Marcus zipped his faded hoodie and breathed, the kind of breath a man takes after laying down a weight he carried for years. The banquet hall's noise dulled behind him, muffled glass trapping their confusion inside like steam sealed in a jar. A cab rolled up, headlights cutting across wet asphalt. Marcus raised a hand, then paused. For a moment, he just listened. The faint whir of tires, the hum of traffic a few blocks over, the shuffle of someone smoking by the corner. Ordinary sounds. But tonight, they felt like music played only for him. He stepped into the back seat, the upholstery creaking softly under his weight. Elm Street, number 42, he told the driver. The man nodded, pulling into the quiet current of traffic. Marcus leaned his head against the glass, rain streak patterns sliding down in crooked lines, like scribbles his son might have drawn. In the stillness of the cab, his mind replayed the room. Brooke lowering her glass, Ryan scratching his scalp, Chase's fake grin finally breaking, Tyler's cards turning blank in his hands. All those fragments stitched together into one truth. The laughter that once shaped him had finally collapsed under its own weight. His phone buzzed. A message from Mrs. Evans. Jaden's asleep. Don't worry. He brushed his teeth, said good night with a tiger. Sweet dreams. Dad. Marcus let the words glow in the dark for a moment before locking the screen. That was the only headline that mattered. The driver glanced back. Rough night. Marcus gave a small shake of the head. Necessary night. Streetlights slid past, each one a brief flare across the window before disappearing, like rings of water drying on a table, leaving faint marks only the careful would notice. He thought of what he'd said. Dignity. Not for applause. Not for revenge. Just to carve a clearer path for his son to walk without the echoes of old insults. The cab turned onto Elm. Marcus paid, leaving a quiet tip, and stepped out into the damp air. His apartment building loomed simple and square, the kind of place no one would post on social feeds, but solid, dependable, his. He climbed the stairs 2 at a time, keys ready in his hand. Inside, the apartment was warm. A nightlight glowed faint orange in the hall. On the fridge, Jaden's drawing still smiled. Crooked suns, stick figures, the Lego train. He slipped his shoes off at the door, the scuffed soles whispering across the mat. Marcus peeked into the bedroom. Jaden lay sprawled sideways, blanket kicked halfway to the floor, stuffed tiger pinned under one arm. His breathing was deep, unbroken. Marcus adjusted the blanket, brushing his son's hair gently back from his forehead. The boy stayed, sighed, then sank deeper into sleep. Marcus stood there for a long moment, the weight of the whole falling away. This was the only audience that mattered, one pair of small lungs keeping rhythm with the world. He whispered, almost inaudible, "We're good, kid. We're good." Back in the kitchen, he poured a glass of water, set it on the table. Another ring formed, faint against the wood. This time, He didn't wipe it away. Some marks deserved to stay, reminders that silence could be stronger than laughter, and that different wasn't weakness, it was blueprint. He sat in the stillness, hoodie damp, shoes scuffed, eyes heavy. Not a millionaire in that moment. Not a founder, not a man who had silenced a room. Just a father, alive in the quiet between storms. Tomorrow the world would return. Emails, code, meetings, diapers, drawings. But tonight, Marcus let the silence linger, carrying its weight like a promise. And as the rain faded to nothing outside, he finally allowed himself a smile. Not for them. For Jaden. For himself. For the long road walked in the dark that had led, at last, to light. The streets shimmered with rain, the reflections running like endless lines of code across the night. Somewhere across town, a boy named Jaden shifted in his sleep, hugging his worn-out stuffed tiger as if it were a shield. His father, Marcus, walked away from the hole with a pace steady enough to close one chapter and let another slowly open. He left the stage as if he had just set down a heavyweight where it belonged. The room parted for him without a word, bodies moving instinctively to the sides, leaving him a runway clear to the exit. No applause. Not tonight. That silence was more honest than clapping hands. From the MIC, Tyler Voss tried to patch the mood with forced warmth. "You'll stay for the class photo, right?" His words hung desperate, thin as gloss over cracks too wide. He waved the MIC like a flag, but no one followed. The blank cue cards in his hand told the truth louder than his voice ever could. Marcus stopped at the edge of the steps. Brooke Whitman shifted forward, her heels clicking too loud in the quiet. "Marcus," she said, the name softer this time. "I'm sorry, not for the scoreboard, but for how we made you the glue for cheap laughs." Her voice faltered, frayed at the edges. Marcus nodded once. He gave no sermon, no pardon. Forgiveness isn't earned on a stage. It waits for the days that follow. From the back of the room, Naomi Carter raised a hand the way a student does in class. "Mr. Green, my sister's a single mom. She wants to learn manual QA. Could I help her apply for the Jaden Fund?" The question landed in the room like the first right step after hours of stumbling. Marcus smiled faintly. "Yes, the home page has a form. Tell her to share her story, list her childcare hours, what device she has. We'll match her with a mentor who can meet her schedule." Naomi's shoulders eased, her eyes lit, like someone had just found the railing in the dark. Another voice broke in. Chase Walker stepped closer. "If I wanted to help the fund, then—" Marcus tilted his head. "Read the charter first. No selfies, no PR off the backs of others. Sponsors stay hidden unless families request otherwise." Chase's smirk faded. The thought of profile pictures and hashtags died before it lived. From the side, Gabe Miller tried too hard. "I always knew you'd make it, Marcus." Marcus's look was steady. "Thanks. But you didn't know. You guessed. Tonight isn't the night to collect." Gabe flushed, words shrinking down. Truth doesn't need to shout. In the corner, caterers swept quietly, changing trays, lifting trash bags. Marcus slipped a tip to the youngest server. "Thanks for saving the MIC from screaming earlier." She chuckled, her accent light. "You're the only one tonight who made sense." A small kindness, tucked away like a warm note. At his shoulder, Ryan Grant spoke low. "I think I failed tonight. When they called your name, I should have said stop. Next time I will." Marcus stuttered him. "One person can turn a crowd. Next time, say it." Ryan nodded, lighter than before, as if finishing an exercise he'd put off too long. More Classmate approached, asking softly, "Do you need UI mentors? We can do evenings." Marcus reminded them, always by their time zones. Time is the most expensive thing the poor have. The lines sank into their silence, anchoring there. Haley Brooke stepped up with trembling hands around a glass. "I wanted not to laugh, but I did. I didn't want to stand out." Marcus gave a tired smile. Awkward is when everyone laughed at the wrong thing. Next time, try standing. A little awkward is better than silence. Haley exhaled, as if she'd been given a small license to resist fear. At the MIC, Tyler made his last try. "Let's take a class picture with Marcus." No one moved. They all understood that photo would serve as proof, as an excuse. Tonight didn't deserve easy proof. Tyler dropped his hand. The MIC hit the stand too hard. Marcus returned to his table, set his glass carefully on a ring of dried water like sealing a mark. Brooke called again, voice softened back to human. "Can I sign up as a CV writing mentor?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, but don't try to change a life in one night. Just help them climb one rung." She mouthed the phrase back, one rung, like memorizing a new rule. The banner above the room flickered, dim at the edges, like a brand name already forgotten. A staffer approached. "Mr. Green, the last payment cleared." Marcus asked quietly for a brownie pack to go. They tied it in brown paper and white string. At the door, Naomi waited for the QR code. Marcus pulled up the form. On his lock screen, Jaden's smile froze mid-squint. Naomi whispered, "So cute." Marcus smiled. "He taught me the hardest equation, how to buy more time." Naomi nodded, tears catching in the light. From behind, Chase spoke again. Just 2 words. "I'm sorry." Marcus turned, gave him thanks, not for the words, but for their timing. He pushed the door open. The hallway smelled of wax and cold air. The room behind him stayed frozen in silence, people forced to sit with it, learning their first assignment, to stand beside a truth without joking it away. Outside, the wind caught in the taxi's frame like a string tuning to pitch. The city glistened, light streaks racing across the wet streets. Marcus leaned back, brownie bag in one hand, phone in the other. A dozen new emails blinked, apologies, mentor sign-ups, partnerships, rumors. He let them wait. The right answers never come from the heat of the same night. At home, the door opened with a soft click. Mrs. Evans whispered that Jaden had stirred but drifted back down, sleeping heavy. Marcus thanked her, slipped her an envelope she pretended not to want, but always kept. In the kitchen, the fridge still served as Jaden's art gallery, papers crooked over utility bills. 2 Lego train cars sat on the table, missing a headlight. Marcus snapped it back into place. "Taller means stronger," he murmured. In the bedroom, Jaden lay curled around his tiger, breathing evenly. Marcus sat, whispered, "Dad's home, not for his son, but for himself." He set the brownie by the bed with a sticky note, 1 piece in the morning only. Back at the laptop, the Jaden Fund dashboard showed new life. 7 applications already, one of them Naomi's sister, a single mom balancing childcare, nail salon shifts, and hope. Marcus read the words slowly, letting the quiet of the night settle, a silence not empty but full, waiting for tomorrow's welcome. Marcus's old laptop had once frozen with just 4 Chrome tabs open. But now, his nights were spent opening tickets, logging schedules, building scaffold of time for other people's chances. Mentor slot 8 to 9:30. Tuesday and Thursday. Refer laptop issue. Attach childcare vouchers. He typed without hesitation, like each key was a brick in something larger than himself. A ping. Lena, lead mentor. High priority. Tight schedules. He answered calmly, slotting a name into a column already swelling with other voices asking for direction. Another ping. Haley, I'm signing up to write resume for parents. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I've read the charter. No selfies. No posts. Thank you for pointing the way. He smiled faintly. Someone got it. Brooke's email followed. A friend. Single mom. Wants a loan UI. Could she be referred? Yes. Quietly marked. Next. Chase. I want to anonymously fund 20 microgrants. No name on banners. 1 ask only. Send me 2 stories each quarter. Just so I know the money is alive. Marcus flagged it green. No rush. The best pledges are the ones still good in the morning. Then Tyler. Subject line. Class photo. The one that made Marcus sit up straighter. Marcus, if you allow it, I'd like not to post any photos from tonight. We use pictures too often to close stories too quickly. Tonight, maybe the kindest thing is to leave it open. Marcus typed back, "Thank you for getting it right." But he didn't send it. Better to wait for daylight, when repentance cools into steadier truth. The house was silent, except for the faint creak of the refrigerator. He poured warm water, not coffee, not alcohol, set the glass on the table. The old water ring still there, faint like a ghost of yesterday. He placed the glass off-center, whispering to himself, "Tonight is a different circle." Numbers flickered. That slide they kept quoting, $18 million. Conservative. Others whispered $100 million. He let it rest. Adjusting numbers never changes the slope of a story. Only the words you choose to share or to withhold bend its path. He opened his to-do file. 7 new forms. Verify priority childcare. Finalize SLA with mentor group. Send vouchers to catering staff. Draft guidelines. Don't turn recipients into content for new donors. He typed the dash. Guidelines poured out like a pledge. 1. No selfies. 2. No excerpts of stories without written consent. 3. Never speak for recipients. 4. Every question must come with an offer. What do you need? What can we deliver in 2 hours or 2 weeks? 5. Be on time, because time is the poor's most expensive asset. Ping. Mrs. Evans. Jaden stirred. I settled him. I'll drop by at 7. Go to your meeting if you need. Marcus smiled. Type back, "Thank you. Tomorrow Jaden has a brownie for you." A smiley appeared seconds later. He looked at the wall clock. The minute hand tapped like a developer's thumb against the space bar between thoughts. His mind replayed the last question of the night. If it were you laughed at, would you show off or stay silent? As a lonely boy he once was, he would have walked out. But as a father, he had spoken. Redefining the story wasn't for him anymore. It was for the child watching adults build the frame of the world. Another email. Naomi, I've submitted. Marcus replied with exactly 11 words. Received. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. open your laptop for me. He hit send. That one needed to go tonight, so Alia could sleep with a sliver of peace. He dimmed the lights. The kitchen sank into a soft golden glow, careful not to wake Jaden. Another fresh water ring shimmered on the table. He peeked into his son's room again. The boy still slept, mouth open, arms locked around his tiger plush. Marcus whispered into the dark, "I'll clear the way." Quietly, but all the way. Before shutting his laptop, he opened a blank note, typed 3 lines. Silence is a tool, but not always the answer. A name, sometimes, must be spoken to reset the story. Time is the currency of rescue. Keep buying it for those who need it. He saved the file notes room_2.md, because tonight he had stood between 2 rooms, one full of adults relearning how to face a mirror, and one small room where a child slept in peace. When those 2 rooms spoke to each other through action, the world, at least as part of it, had turned another full circle. Outside, the rain stopped. Pavement dried. The streaks of light disappeared. Marcus finished his water, set the glass down. The ring spread, then stilled. Enough. He turned off the kitchen light. Let the night keep its promise. And morning arrived with the clink of a spoon against cereal. Jaden, hair wild, nose running, sniffled. "Dad, the note on the brownie bag says I can only have 1 piece. Marcus chuckled. Rules are rules. Half now, half this afternoon. The glass of milk left a bright circle on the table, glowing under sunlight. Stronger means taller, Marcus murmured, charm-like, as they fixed a wobbly Lego train car. His phone buzzed non-stop, notifications stacking, headline screaming. Reunion clip. Loser turned millionaire humbles entire room. Anonymous sponsor revealed. Some called it humiliation. Others called it revenge. Marcus locked the screen. The loudest things are rarely the truest. Going to work? Jaden asked, milk mustache on his lip. Yeah. But first, let's add another floor to the train. When his son left for school, Marcus opened his laptop again. Inbox exploding. Reporters fishing. Tyler apologizing. I tried to stop it from spreading. Thanks for trying, Marcus replied. Keep the class group quiet. I'll handle the rest. No threats. No takedowns. Revenge was always sweet hot, bitter cold. But useless. An email from Rutherford Advancement Office. The board is buzzing. Some want partnership with the Jaden Fund. Some are angry. We'd like to hear your conditions. He read it twice, then set the phone down on the coaster. The coffee ring left a glossy edge. Another message. Chase again. Let me run your PR. My agency can manage the storm. Marcus typed slowly. Thanks. This isn't a campaign. It's a lesson. I'll handle it with weighted silence. If you want to help, read the charter. The typing bubble appeared. Stopped. Appeared. Vanished. Silence. For once, held. Marcus opened the Jaden Fund page. Drafted a note. Don't speak for us. What happened last night is not a viral moment to recycle. It's a mirror. If you feel ashamed, hold that feeling long enough to change. To the press, we don't provide recipients' personal info. We don't write your happy endings. We buy time for learners. Nothing more. He hit publish. Short. Clean. Not a sermon. Just rules. Another ping. An outlet fishing for course lists. Send them so we can inspire. Marcus screenshot. Forwarded to counsel. Standard warning letter. But before a lawyer answered, he updated the form itself. Top line notice. Do not overshare. We anonymize everything except email. Save. Rate limit. Hash. Done. The circles on the table. Water, coffee, milk. Still drying into faint outlines. But Marcus knew, this time, the circles were not closing him in. They were proof of motion, of slope, of the story still unfolding.